my channel. I'm Sigourney Rosario, helping you to boss up in business, self-love, and faith. Welcome back. So today we are talking about how you can book different workshops. So if you're interested in learning how to be a speaker, how to talk to young girls, young men, women, males, females, everybody in between, stay tuned. Let's go ahead and hop into the video. So for me, I have done countless workshops, speaking engagements. By no means am I saying I'm a guru or do I know everything, but I just want to help the average everyday person like myself to learn how to book your first workshop or speaking engagement. So number one, you have to think of, who do you want to talk to? I've always had dreams and aspirations of talking to young girls. It's just who I know God has called me to, who God has, ordained me to speak to. And I am very much appreciative of the different opportunities that God has placed in my life. And so number one, I would say you have to know who your target audience is. And not only that, but you kind of have to go a little bit more deeper. So for me, I am stationed in Atlanta, Georgia. And so I knew I wanted to speak to girls. Okay, what type of girls? Do you want to speak to middle schoolers? Do you want to speak to high schoolers? Do you want to speak to college age? Do you want to speak to women? What type of age range do you want to speak to? And another thing you have to think about is, what type of environment do you want to speak to these girls? Are you speaking to juveniles? Are you speaking to people who may be like in the sex industries? Do you want to talk to the girls who may be runaways? Do you want to talk to homeless girls? Like, what type of industry do you want to talk to? Once you have that narrowed down, then you can move on to the next step, and that is doing research. Number two is doing research. research. I literally have researched I think I've actually researched every single nonprofit in Atlanta. Like, there is not one nonprofit that I did not reach out to. And when you do research, again, it's going to be a long process. You're gonna be googling. At one point I just went to ChatGPT, which I highly would recommend. When I first started off with workshops, ChatGPT didn't exist, but now you can just use ChatGPT. So you can literally tell ChatGPT exactly what you want. Like, hey, I want to host a workshop with girls from the ages of 8 to 14, preferably in a school environment, talking to them about self-love, self-confidence. I currently live in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm looking to drive within 20 to 25 miles out. Can you give me a full list of all the nonprofits that I would be a good speaker for? And you can literally do something just like that. You can literally copy that from word to word and just obviously make your own updates. But I just came up with that off the top of my head. So go to ChatGPT and ask them everything. And if you want to take it a step further, you can also ask, hey, can you also provide the emails, contact informations for all the nonprofits as well? So it will generate a huge list with all the numbers, all the emails, and from there, it's pretty much smooth sailing. Number three, you want to start reaching out to these nonprofits. So for me, I felt like I did it wrong the first couple of times. So I actually took time out of a day and I drove to all these different locations. And I would not recommend that at all. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because I was driving like an hour out, 2 hours out for one location, and the location had closed. So they had the website, they had the Google reviews, they had everything up. But when I drove to the location, it was actually closed. So I would not recommend doing that at all. I recommend emailing, calling, all the different things. So once you have that full list, you want to start reaching out to them. And then when you reach out to them, you want to already have a game plan as to what you want to do. I knew I wanted to host workshops on self-love, self-confidence, some fashion in there, wellness, health, military, career, whatever the case may be. I pretty much created a PDF file describing all the different topics and the workshop that will go along with it, the different activities, how long it will last. It was actually very organized. So hopefully I can remember to include like a picture on the screen, or maybe you'll be able to see it. But pretty much it was just an outline that when I reached out to these nonprofits, I kind of already gave them some type of idea as to what I was wanting to offer to their team, wanting to offer to their girls, so they can get just a visual of exactly what I was talking about. Number four, you need to set up a Zoom call. The reason why I say that is because you want to see directly who you're talking to. Yes, phone calls are okay. Yes, emails are okay for that initial contact, but the next step needs to be like, hey, my name is Sigourney Rosario. I'm looking to host a workshop on self-love, self-confidence. I would love to talk to your girls about this. Do you have time in your week to hop on a Zoom call? When you do this, you can do a free account for Zoom, and you also can do Calendly. That's pretty much what I would do. So for me, I have a full-time job. Everybody knows I'm in the military. So I would set my Calendly Zoom calls for either before work. So my Zoom calls would be I think it was from 7 to 8. No. It was 7. No. I can't remember. I think it was like 8. Oh, it was 8 to 8:30, 8:30 to 9. So I had 2 availabilities early in the morning. And then at night I would do from 5 to 6. No, 5 to 5:30, 5:30 to 6. So it's in 30 minutes increments. So 2 early in the morning before work, 2 in the afternoon after work. And that's how I would set up my calendar invite. So when they say, yes, let's hop on a Zoom call, they pick out the time that works better for them. So it's no stress on you, because essentially they picking out which time works better for you. It's only 30 minutes. It's not taken away from your 9 to 5, but it just gives them options. And on Fridays I was off. So that's how I did it. It worked out perfectly. I think there was only 1 or 2 times to where it kind of went over. So with Zoom, if you do a Zoom call more than an hour and you're on a free trial, it cuts it off. So there was only, I think, maybe 1 or 2 times where we was talking a little bit too long. You know what I'm saying? Chitter chatter, pitter patter. And I'm like, girl, we finna get cut off. In the back of my mind, I'm like, girl, we gotta wrap this up. We gotta wrap it up. Number 5. When you are on the Zoom call and you are talking to these founders, you're talking to the nonprofit organizations, you need to know your stuff. You do not need to be on the Zoom call fumbling. What I mean by that is, again, for me, I'll just use myself as an example. When I was talking to these people, I kind of already had an idea as to when I wanted the presentations to be, where I wanted the presentation to be, what time worked better for me on these presentations. So I wasn't on there like, fumbling the ball. So a lot of them would ask me, okay, when do you want to set up these self-love presentations? For me, I know that I work Monday through Friday. So I'm like, the Saturdays work better for me. I know that. And I know that I prefer early morning Saturdays to do the presentations or the workshops. I already knew that. I'm not on the Zoom call talking to a founder for a nonprofit and trying to figure out when am I trying to schedule it. Like, you have to make sure you know, or at least have thought about, what is the time that you want to do the workshop? What is the date that you want to do the workshop? Do you want to do it in a month? Do you want to do it in 6 months? Do you want to do it around Christmas? Do you want to do it around February? Self-love, self-confidence. Is there anything tied to your nonprofit that works better for you? So obviously February was a very popular month for me, dealing with self-love, Valentine's Day, that whole thing. Christmas, also very popular. So just know like the time frame that you want to do it. Also know like the time frame as far as how long the workshop will be. Are you going to need half a day? Are you going to need an hour? Are you going to need a couple of hours? All that stuff, just be thinking about before you get on the Zoom call, so you're not thinking as you're talking and it looks like you're not prepared. Also, you kind of want to make it seem like you are a little experienced. Like for my first workshop, obviously it was my first workshop, but I had also done a lot of speaking engagements prior to, because I am a military recruiter. So that's all we do is talk. So when I'm on a Zoom call, I'm saying, yes, I've hosted workshops for military and for, Air Force, and talking to young teens, young girls about their careers after high school. And it just made me seem like I kind of knew what I was doing. I wasn't just this random girl who wants to help the world but who has no experience, if that makes sense. So a lot of the nonprofits will ask you, okay, have you worked with other nonprofits in the past? What was your experience like? All those different things. So just make sure you have some type of experience in that area, even if it's just like, hey, I mentor my sisters or my little nieces or nephews. Like, just show that, I bring something to the table. I have experience in this career field, this area of study, and I know what I'm talking about. The next tip I would say is you want to make sure that there is some type of contract formed before you do your workshop. You want to make sure there is some type of contract formed before you do your workshop. Now me, I was very gullible. I will admit that, and luckily I had no issues with anything with any nonprofit. But one of my best friends, who also kind of helps me with my business, I was talking to her about it, and I was kind of venting, like, you know, we're just going to set it up. This is how much you're going to get paid, and all this stuff. She was like, do you have a contract? And I was like, do I need a contract? Like, you know, I trust her. She's cool. I'm cool. Why do I need a contract? And she was like, girl, get you a contract made, have me review it, and then you can have her sign it and y'all sign it. It's not like, for me, I felt like a contract was like, I don't trust you, so we need this in writing. But I realized that a contract is simply saying, this is what we are mutually agreeing on. This is what will occur, and if it's outside of this realm, then we need to have a discussion. For me, I just felt like a contract was just saying, you know, we don't trust each other, and that's not the case. So before you do anything, before you sign anything, before you perform anything, before you show anybody, before you talk to anybody, get that contract made. I, again, went on ChatGPT, but there's also templates on, I think if you just Google contracts for hosting workshops, contracts for speaking engagements, contracts for nonprofits, it's a whole list of them for free online as well. But you definitely want to have some type of contract, and make sure both parties sign it, because I had one nonprofit who, like, I kept trying to, she wanted me to do the nonprofit organization workshop before the contract was signed. I'm like, lady, I need the contract back. I need that contract back. I need that signature before I do anything. And she was just like, it was honestly just a mistake on her end. She just was super busy, and the time was, you know, coming closer. And so I kept having to remind her, hey man, before I come out, I need this contract back. And eventually we got it signed. Everything was good to go. But also when it comes down to the contract, you just want to make sure that it's everything that you want. So for me, I include the basics. Both people need to be on there. Also, you need to include the date, or approximately the time that you plan on doing it. You want to include the fine print. So if there's any type of payment, that needs to be in there. So for me, I did get paid for some of my speaking engagements, and so you definitely want to include that payment. How are you going to get the payment? How long is the payment going to take? You know, where's the payment coming from? Are you doing PayPal? Are you doing direct deposit? All the different things. If there's anything social media related, you need to include that on there. Like, hey, we both agree to post this on social media. We both agree that, you know, this can be included, that can't be included. There was a nonprofit that I worked with where we couldn't include any pictures of the people, or we had to block out their face or kind of blur them. And so you want to have that in there. If there is something as far as like the location or the time, or what happens if somebody cancels, what happens if somebody's not happy, all that needs to be in there. Do not think that because y'all are cool on Zoom and she likes you, you like her, and y'all are besties, that something won't come up, because it will. And you want to make sure that contract is covering your business, number one, but also covering the nonprofit as well. Next, I would highly recommend that you find some type of incentive that will help you. I have a business, Self-Love Stationery, which I love. You should shop it down low, the link below, shameless plug. But we sell stationery products that inspire women to love, to grow, to heal themselves. And so for me, what I would do with some of the nonprofits is, in exchange for me talking and, you know, offering my services to their girls, they would purchase stationery for their girls. So it's like a win-win for both of us. I'm coming out, I'm speaking to their girls, and I'm providing, you know, self-love, my experience, my military experience, fitness and fashion, whatever the case may be. I am providing helpful information for their girls, and in return, they are purchasing stationery from my business. And so I would give them the wholesale category that I give other businesses as well. And because they're purchasing at a larger rate, if that makes sense, they get more bang for their buck. They are obviously getting the wholesale price. And so that's what I recommend. If you don't have a business, or maybe you don't have any merchandise, you can do like a speaker's fee. So pretty much they will just pay you for coming out and speaking. You can do that as well. You also could do something like, hey, if I come out and speak, you need to post it on your social media. That's a simple thing that you can do. But when they post it on their social media, hey, Sigourney Rosario just came out here and spoke to our girls. We loved it. We had a good time, good vibes. Other nonprofits will reach out to you. You're gaining followers, you're gaining momentum, and it's just a win. So whatever thing that you can do to get something out of it, I know people say, hey, just go out and speak. Just do your thing, just give back to the community. And yes, I 110% agree with that. But you also are a business. You also are a speaker. Okay, so you have to figure out some type of way, some type of incentive where you are gaining something in return. Like, even if it's just a shout out on social media. Another thing that I will always do, every single nonprofit that I spoke at, in return afterwards, they had to write me a letter of recommendation. They did. And a letter of recommendation isn't saying like I recommend her for another speaking engagement. It's just honestly just expressing their thanks. And it's really for me because I have a binder where I keep all the letters of recommendation, letters of appreciation, all that stuff in that binder. And so again, that's going to help you, because when another nonprofit comes to you and say, hey, who have you spoken to? Who can vouch that you're a good speaker? Babe, I had a whole binder. You pick and choose which letter you want to look at, period. And it takes no time for them. They put on their letterhead, they put it in Chat GPT like everybody does. They generate a letter saying, thank you so much for coming out. We loved you. We enjoyed you. You print it out and you put it in your little binder. It's just good memories. It's good tools, and you know, it may help you in the future. You never know. Maybe Oprah want to come up to you and say, can you speak to my girls in Africa? I sure will. Like, you never know who you can become, who you're going to connect with, and you got to stay ready in these streets, okay? Next tip I can give you is you need to practice. Practice. Y'all, I consider myself a very good public speaker. Not because I enjoy public speaking. I actually have a very deep fear of public speaking, but because I practice. I don't care how small the crowd is, y'all. I don't care how small the crowd. I don't care if it's 2 people in there. You ain't finna catch me slipping. You're not finna catch me slipping. So I want to tell you, no matter what the topic is, no matter how many times you have been doing it, run through it at least one time. But especially if this is your first one, yeah, you're gonna have to run through that. You're gonna have to run through it and get feedback from other people too. So you want to get feedback from your family, your friends, your loved ones. Practice in front of people if you can. Do it through FaceTime, whatever you got to do, but you don't want to be up there fumbling, because especially if you're working with teenagers. Now the little kids you can finesse. The old people, they'll feel sympathy for you. But that little middle part right there, the middle ages, babes, them teenagers are ruthless. Them teenagers will laugh in your face. Them teenagers will look at you like you crazy. Them teenagers will be bored. You got to practice if you are trying to talk to teenagers, because I'm telling you right now, they will roast you right to your face. Now, luckily, it ain't never happened with me, but what I can say is that I've noticed about teenagers is their attention span is very, very, very short. Very, very, very short. And so if you don't grab them, or if you don't capture their attention, or if you're dealing with a group of minorities who have been through different things, you have to show relatability. You cannot go up there like you're this, you're that, and just expect them to listen to you. Like, you have to be down to earth. You got to capture their attention, and you just got to reel them in. There are going to be some disrespectful kids. There's going to be disrespectful women, males. Whoever your target audience is, don't go in thinking that everybody is just happy to see you. Everybody always, just go in their room and just know they're looking at you with a side eye. Just go, I don't care if you're talking to great grandmamas. Like, everybody, just go into the room expecting them to look at you with a side eye. Your job is just to do what God told you to do. And again, I've experienced it. My target audience is middle school to high school girls. And baby, I had to go to the Lord a couple of times and say, God, is this what you really want for me? Is this what you really want from me? Because them teenagers, I almost had a fight break out while I was up there. And I said, God, what are we doing? A couple of times that's happened to where 2 girls are going at it, and one of them had to get kicked out. Another one got kicked out. Like, it's happened multiple times where I'm up there. And so it could get very stressful. It can get very out of hand very fast. So you have to realize that you can't go in there thinking it's just finna be butterflies and rainbows. You got to remember your why. You got to remember why you up there, who God has called you to be, and you just gotta, you know, go out there and teach it. But one thing I would say is, you want to come in with a hook. You want to come in with like a video or a question or an activity. You just want to make it interactive. Just make sure that you are engaging them and you're not up there being boring. And more importantly, you gotta practice before you get up there. The last tip I can tell you is be confident. Be confident. So you have to remember that God placed this need in your life for a reason. So there is something that you see in the world that breaks your heart. And because it breaks your heart, you feel the need to host a workshop and to give back to that generation, to give back to that age group, to give back to that gender. And there's a reason for that. You make a difference. Your voice is making a difference. Don't go in there being cocky. Don't go in there being lowly in spirit and too humble. Like, go in there knowing who you are, knowing that you have something good to offer the world, and go in there dressed the part. Because again, whoever demographic you're called to talk to, they will be addressing you. They will be judging you based off how you look. So you want to make sure that you're coming in confident, coming in strong, and they just need to feel it off of you. Like, I know a lot of the girls, they didn't play with me. Like, they would just sit there and just clown the other speakers. But when I came in, they knew I was standing on business. Oh, they did not play. Like, I was talking to a lot of the girls from like group homes and stuff, and sometimes they would just go off on the speaker, interrupt her. I had to put a couple of them in their place. Like, one of the girls, she tried to get rowdy with me. I was like, well, you can leave. And she was like, oh, and she sat right back down and listened. I said, yeah, I'm not the one to be played with. So you got to come in confident, not being rude or nasty, but you just have to know, like, you're going to show respect to me. You're going to know that I'm here to serve you. If you want to hear it, you can. If not, that's fine. And another thing to expect is rejection. I got rejected from this nonprofit, y'all, and it hurt my little feelings. I was in my feelings. I was in my feelings. I was in my feelings. I've never been rejected from a nonprofit. Like, excuse me. But her point of contact was pretty much just saying that her reasoning for rejecting me was essentially that I didn't have a license in psychology. I didn't have a license in therapy. I wasn't a licensed, physical therapy coach. I wasn't a licensed mental health practitioner. I wasn't licensed. And so expect rejection from different nonprofits. It's okay. It happens, and just keep it moving. That just wasn't for you. You don't have the voice for that nonprofit, and that's okay. There is 100 million nonprofits that are waiting on you that need you. And so again, come in confidence with that head held high, with a smile on your face, standing on business, and just know that you are there for a reason. If you need encouragement, or you know somebody else that may need a little bit of encouragement, please write into my foundation, Letters for Life, where you'll receive a free handwritten letter of encouragement back to you. As always, I love you, but most importantly though, God loves you.